Hello, my friends. I'm Christina Madison with Rolling Oaks Yoga, and today I have a short sequence for you that is specifically targeted towards working your core. So, your abdominal muscles, your transverse abdominis, your obliques, and even your back and glutes. We're going to work on those as well. So, let's go ahead and get started. I'd like you to come to tabletop position. So, hands and knees. Wrists directly underneath shoulders, knees directly underneath hips, and we're going to start with some gentle cat-cow. But for this one, I want you to think specifically about hugging in the abs, like drawing the belly button in towards your spine and knitting those front ribs together. So when I say knit the front ribs together, I mean like pull them together like you wanted to attach them to each other, okay? And that'll help you pull the abs in, make the lower back long, and it's really going to help you get that abdominal engagement that we're looking for. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Think about pulling the belly button in towards the spine, knitting the front ribs together, and keep it held as we come into our cow. So normally we just drop the belly straight to the mat, but this time I want you to keep a little bit of, just keep holding on just a little bit to the abs, just a little bit as we come into cow, lifting the hips up, taking the gaze forward. Draw the belly button in as we begin to roll through the spine, lengthening the tailbone down towards the space between our knees, rounding through each vertebrae, tucking the chin into the chest, pull the belly in, and then we'll come back to our cow. So slowly lifting from our tailbone, keeping the abs engaged, lifting the hips high to the sky, dropping the belly towards the mat while keeping the abs hugged in, press the chest forward through the upper arms, and exhale to ripple back through the spine, lengthening your tailbone down. Round, round, round. Tuck the chin into the chest. And lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling, keeping the abs drawn in. Keep those front ribs knitted together. As we arch through the back, taking the gaze forward towards the front of your mat. And exhale once more to cat, lengthening the tailbone down. Vertebrae by vertebrae, rounding through the spine. Tuck the chin into the chest, and then we'll come back to neutral. Good. So the next pose we're going to do is called bird dog. So we're going to start with the legs, and then we're going to add on to it. So start by reaching your left leg back away from the body. And we want to make sure we keep our shoulders square to the floor and press through both hands evenly as we lift the left leg back. Reach back through the heel, so flex the foot. You can also experiment with pointing the toes and see how that changes the feel of the pose. But really, when you flex your foot, you're going to really help engage the hamstrings and the glute muscles. And then exhale to lower the left leg back down to the ground. Let's try the right leg. So reach that right leg back behind you, flex the foot. Reach through the heel, one powerful line of energy from your heel all the way through your spine, up through the crown of your head, and exhale to lower back down. Now let's add the opposite arm. So as you reach the left leg back, flex the foot, press into the left hand, reach the right arm forward in front of you, keep the back of the neck nice and long, exhale both back down to the floor. Good. And you can always just do the legs. If adding the arms makes you too unbalanced, just do the legs. Don't worry about it. Reach the right leg back, press into the right hand, reach the left arm forward, draw the belly in, knit the front ribs together, exhale, lower back down. Let's do that same thing once more. Inhale, left leg back, right arm reaches forward, hold it, draw the belly in, exhale, lower back down. Other side, reach the right leg back, flex the foot, reach the left fingertips forward, draw the belly up and in, exhale, lower back down. Now, if you want to progress it just a little bit further, you can try this. If not, just stick with what you've been doing. So, inhale the left leg back, the right arm forward, just like we started. Now, as you exhale, draw your left knee and your right elbow together. Exhale the air all the way out. Inhale to re-extend. Exhale to lower down. Other side. Inhale, reach the right leg back, left arm forward. Exhale, knee to elbow, draw them in. Exhale, the belly in. Inhale, back out. Exhale, lower down. Let's do that same thing one more time on each side. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, reach back out. Exhale, down. Last one. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale, knee to elbow, draw them together. Draw the belly in. Inhale, back out. Exhale, down. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to come into downward facing dog. So walk the hands forward, slightly in front of your shoulders, tuck the toes under, and as you exhale, roll onto the balls of the feet, lifting the knees up off the ground. Hips come high to the sky. Bend the knees generously here, prioritizing length in your spine. Draw the belly in towards the back side of the body. Knit the front ribs together. Press into your hands. Really root down through each fingertip. Lift the hips even higher if you can. Good. Bring the ears in line with the biceps. Now we're going to bring the body into plank. So you can watch me for this first one if you like. So I'm going to take the space in between my shoulder blades, and I'm going to slowly rock my body forward, moving from that space in between my shoulder blades as I begin to bring my shoulders over my wrists. And then I'm going to bring my head in line with my spine, reaching back through the heels. And then I'm going to exhale back to my downward facing dog, again moving with that space in between my shoulder blades. So everyone joins in now. We're going to do this 3 times. So as you inhale, move the space in between your shoulder blades, beginning to stack the shoulders over the wrists. Keep the belly pulled in, the front ribs knitted together. Bring the head in line with the spine. Reach back through the heels. Exhale, lift the hips up and back. Rebend the knees. Come back into your downward facing dog. Good, let's do that again. Inhale, reach the middle of the back forward, bringing the shoulders over the wrists. Press the floor right. Engage the shoulder girdle. Good, draw the abs up and in. Reach back through the heels. Lever the hips towards the chin. Exhale, back to your downward facing dog. Last one here. I know you're working hard. One more. Bring the space between your shoulder blades forward as you begin to rock the body forward, shoulders over wrists, press the floor away, draw the belly button in. Strong legs here, reach your thighs up towards the ceiling for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, back to your downward facing dog. Very good. All right, hold here for a minute. If you need to come to child's pose to rest, you can. Take the knees wide, big toes together. Just take a few moments. Let the core rest. Catch your breath. One more breath here. And then we're going to inhale back to our tabletop. Okay, so now we're going to do some modified chaturanga push-ups. So not just core here, I'm going to make you work a little bit more. So when we do a sun salutation A with a modified chaturanga, normally it looks like this, where we lower all the way down to the floor. So instead what you're going to do is you're going to do some mini push-ups. So you're going to leave your knees down on the ground. You're going to bring your hips in line with your shoulders and knees, and then we're going to do some little push-ups. Okay, just like this. Okay, so go ahead, find your shoulders over your wrists. Move my hands back just a little bit. Hug the elbows in towards your sides. They should graze your ribs as you come down. Draw the belly in, knit those front ribs together, and then we're going to slowly lower down. You can come halfway or reach the chest most of the way towards the mat. Inhale to press back up. Whew. I know I feel that. I hope you do too. Let's do 3 more. Slowly lower down. Inhale. Exhale, press back up. Good. 2 more. Inhale, slowly lower down. Draw the belly in. Really engage the abs. Exhale, press away. Last one. Inhale. Exhale, press back up. Good. Come back to tabletop. Shake it out a little bit. That was really good. Okay, let's work on our sides just a little bit, so our obliques. So I'm going to come to the middle of my mat and face towards the long end of the mat. You can do the same. So I'm going to show you the modified version first, and then we're going to take the progression for a side plank. So what I'm going to do is we'll start on the left side. So take your left hand out to your side and plant it with your fingers pointing towards the long or the short end of the mat. So you're going to leave your left knee down as kind of a kickstand, and then you're going to take that right leg out to the side, planting the foot all the way down flat on the mat. Okay, so take your top hand to your hip. Good, and you're going to bring the hips forward in space. So really you should be lifting that right hip up towards the ceiling, and you should feel some engagement in the lower oblique. You can lift the arm up towards the sky, or you can leave it down on the hip, your choice. Now, if you'd like to progress it a little bit further, you can add the leg. So you can either stagger the feet in front of each other like you see here, or you can stack the feet on top of each other. What we want to make sure is that our shoulder is directly over our wrist, okay? So you can take the hands to hips, you can lift the hand into the air. We're going to hold for 3 breaths. Draw the belly in. Drop down to the knee if you need to. Good, 2 more. Press the floor away. Lift that top hip high to the ceiling for 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Lower the hips down. Let's switch to the other side. Okay, so now we're going to take our right hand out to the side, fingers pointing towards the short end of the mat. For the modification, we'll step the left leg out, bottom of the foot flat on the mat, take the top hand to the top hip, bring the hips forward in space, lift that left hip up towards the ceiling, option to add the arm. For those of you looking for the full variation of the pose, you'll add the leg, so either stagger the feet in front of each other or stack the top foot on top of the bottom foot, hand to hip, or arm reaches up towards the sky, press the floor away, lift the left hip up towards the ceiling, 3 breaths here. Your bottom shoulder should be stacked over your bottom wrist. Right arm reaches towards the sky, 1 long line of your arms. Good, draw the belly in. Lift that top hip just a little bit higher for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, back down to the mat. Whew. Great job, guys. Whew, that's challenging. Okay, so take a seat on your mat. Your seat should be about halfway along your mat. The next pose we're coming into is boat pose. So for this one, you have a lot of options. So I'll show you the easiest, and then we'll progress to the hardest. So the easiest will be to hold the backs of the thighs and begin to hinge the body back in space. So everyone go ahead and try this. Just begin to hinge the body back until you get to about 45 degrees. And leaving the feet down on the mat is your first option. You still want to knit the front ribs together, draw the belly in. Good, the next option will be to lift the feet up off the mat, bringing the shins parallel to the floor. You can still hold the backs of the thighs here, or you can reach the arms forward. Good. And then the final progression, straighten the legs. Whew, that is challenging. I'm actually going to keep my shins parallel to the floor. So you find what works for you. You find what works with your body. Okay, we don't want to work our abs too hard and injure ourselves or pull anything, especially for you postpartum mommies. 1 more breath. Good. Lower the feet back down to the mat. And then I'm going to move my hips forward just a little bit. We're going to do the same thing as we hinge our body back in space. Now hollow out the belly like someone scooped out your guts with an ice cream scoop. And then we're going to lower down vertebrae by vertebrae all the way down onto the mat. Now we're going to come into bridge pose. So I promised some glutes and lower back. So we're going to come into bridge, which is my favorite pose for that. So you want your feet flat on the mat, about hips width apart. This is a great opportunity to use a block in between your thighs. So if you have a block nearby, you can just slip it in between your thighs as a reference point for you to squeeze against. And that's really going to help you get some inner thigh engagement. Okay, so take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, begin to press into the feet, lifting your hips up towards the ceiling. Good, lifting higher, higher, higher. Keeping your hip points square, lifting them up towards the ceiling, pressing into the arms, pressing into the shoulders. You might want to shimmy your shoulders closer together, rolling onto the outside edges of the arms. Lengthen the tailbone towards the heels. Lever the hips towards the chin. Good, lift the hips a little bit higher if you can for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, slowly lower down, vertebrae by vertebrae, back onto your back. And then we'll come into constructive rest, so move your block out of the way if you have it. Take the feet wide as your mat. Let the knees rest in against each other. Just rest for a moment. We're going to do bridge one more time. Slowly bring the feet back towards each other, hips width apart, heels as close to the sit bones as you can get them. If you're using the block, place the block back in between your thighs or knees. Inhale to begin to press into the feet. Exhale to lift the hips up off the mat, lifting them high to the sky, lengthening your tailbone down. Good, really pressing into the feet. And if you like, if you have the shoulder mobility, you can interlace the fingers underneath your seat and kind of roll into the outside edges of the arms and the tops of the shoulders. This is totally an option. You do not have to do this. You can leave the arms just down along the mat like you had before. Squeeze the block. Good, squeeze the glutes. Lift the hips a little bit higher if you can for 3, 2, 1. Release the hands if you have them. Slowly lower down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Come back to your constructive rest. Good. Bring the feet back to center. Gather your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug. And then take the feet back down to the mat. You can take the arms out to your sides in a T shape or in a goalpost shape. And then we're just going to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Allowing the muscles of the back to release and soften. Gather the knees into the chest once more. One more big hug. And then slowly lower the legs one by one down onto the mat. Releasing the arms down at your sides, just for a brief shavasana. Letting the body relax, sink into your mat. Just spend the next minute just breathing. Not breathing in a specific way, not trying to fix anything, just breathing. Allow the space in between your eyebrows to relax and soften. Imagining that your temples could melt away down towards your ears. Unhinge the jaw. Allow your tongue to fall flat at the bottom of your mouth. Allow gravity to make your bones feel heavy. As you're ready, bend the knees one at a time and slowly roll onto the right side. And then slowly press the body up to seated, letting the eyes remain closed if you can. Take the hands to shins or onto the thighs or knees. And slowly bring the hands to heart center. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your day with me to do some core yoga work. Namaste.